Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Wellness Wednesday. Today, we are joined by the very inspiring Kelly Collins, who's going to walk us through how paying attention to nutrition, oxygenation, and detox can help you live your best life in good health. Take it away, Kelly.
Thanks, Mike, and thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. So welcome, everybody. I'm just going to share my screen really quick. So again, yes, good health, good life, and I call this the trifecta of good health: food, oxygen, and detox. So terms that are probably familiar to you guys, maybe some, maybe not all, and we're going to go through that. So just a quick disclaimer, I'm not providing medical advice. I'm not a medical provider, so I'm not professing to cure, treat, or heal anything, but always check with your physician before starting any new routine. But you'll find this is very general information, but I just wanted to put that out there. So my story is I was in corporate America for over 25 years, mainly in IT consulting. And I actually grew up healthy, luckily through my mother and healthy eating, and I was an athlete, but I actually suffered some health challenges, mainly from working too much. And actually that allowed me to find different paths to help because some traditional methods had failed me. And that actually inspired me to go into the Institute of Integrative Nutrition and get that certification while I was still in corporate. And that really parlayed nicely into helping my father through his first round of brain cancer. He had non-Hodgkin CNS lymphoma. And I just noticed, how much healthy eating and certain different modalities and stuff really helped him feel better. Sadly, unfortunately, we lost him, but I gained a lot of knowledge. And in the years since, I became really inspired to help others live better and, maybe not suffer the way that he did based on what I've learned. So I actually found cancer coaching a couple years ago. I launched my holistic cancer coaching practice, which is what I do now. My Vibe Life, and I'm really excited to help people, not only empower them to know that their health is in their hands, and that's super powerful, that you have all that power, but also through specific nutrition and supplementation and certain alternative modalities, sometimes things that are maybe outside the realm of what we see every day. People even making small changes can make drastically amazing changes to their health. And that's what's so great. I just really love to educate people. And I appreciate, again, the opportunity with Mike and company today to be able to do that with you all with Fight Colorectal Cancer. So we'll get started. So there are, two terms out there. One of them you probably heard of, one maybe not: dis-ease versus disease. So what's dis-ease? It's really a nutrition deficiency problem. So many people are starving to death and they don't even know it because we're eating the wrong things. Like if you see in the slide on the right, in the upper right, the standard American diet, which is really a sad diet, and I think the acronym is appropriate, is largely processed food, lots of red meat, not a lot of fruits and vegetables. And that leads to kind of a calamity of health issues. If that goes on, for a lifetime, perhaps. A better alternative is something that maybe the plate that we learned from the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, which is something that's a lot more balanced and does not have any processed foods. So the thing with dis-ease is it's just really signaling your body that it's out of whack in some way. So I gave some signs. These are obviously not all of them, but maybe if you felt you had a lot of weight gain, you had insomnia, maybe you've had some skin issues, you have irritability, you're forgetful, maybe your hair's thinning, and on and on and on. That's a signal from the body, and we actually should think of it as a blessing because it's alerting you. It's like, hey, it's a little warning signal. Hey, something's going on and we're out of alignment. So we need you to pay attention. And if we don't do that, and if it goes on too long, then it can manifest into disease. Things like heart disease, diabetes, cancers, without serious lifestyle changes. That's how it can manifest. So how do we achieve optimal health, and how do we get there, and how do we, you know, pay more attention now, and also how do we get back there if we kind of went down the wrong road? So I want people to start thinking about food as medicine. You know, it sounds weird because we're just used to medicine being medicine, but food really is medicine. It can be medicine, or it can be poison, and it can help you or it can harm you. And again, that goes back to that prior slide about what are our choices, right? So when we change our diet, and I don't even like that word because it just got such a negative connotation. You know, it's like die with a T, right? Like it's not very inspiring. So I actually really like to think of lifestyle changes, because that's really what this needs to be. And I'm going to show you how you can make it really easy. But what's great is that your body is pretty amazing already. I mean, it's miraculous, quite frankly. And when you even make small changes, it's pretty amazing how that can just ripple in just to significant health changes for you on the positive side. So I want to, you know, educate you about that, and you know that this is in your hands, and your body really wants to get back there. Most of us were born healthy, so it really wants to get back to that state, and it's going to help you if you help it. So you're probably asking, okay, so what should I eat? And that's a common question. So eat primitive, not processed, meaning, you know, obviously the more that you can eat things that, you know, don't maybe have 25 ingredients that you can't even spell, things that come from a tree or from the ground, obviously the more of that is better. And eat as much organic as possible. And I know that some people might think, oh, that's just a term, it's a buzzword, but it really isn't. What that means is that produce isn't sprayed with herbicides and pesticides and chemicals, which obviously we don't want to eat. Because when we have cancer, we already have a toxic load internally. So we're trying to get rid of that toxic load and build our immune system. So we want to eat things that support that. So the good thing is that now that's so prevalent in our society that most times there's really no price difference or very little between the two. So I always support that when people are able, and even if you buy it frozen, that's fine too. So roots and fruits, meaning again, things that come from the ground, greens and beans, seeds and weeds. Weeds means like, you know, if you had access to wheatgrass or spirulina or something like that, seeds or nuts. And then wild fish and game, really steer away from farm fish because again, super processed, and you don't want to ingest that. So again, wild fish is the best. So what we want to avoid, because we don't want to eat things that are going to feed any kind of dis-ease, right? We want to avoid meats and sweets. And the reason I say meat is because when we age, we lose our digestive enzymes in our pancreas. And meat especially is super acidic, so high acid. We already have a lot of acid internally if you have cancer. So you don't want to kind of contribute to that. And it's also super hard for the pancreas to digest. So we want to not make the body work harder, and we want to make sure we're trying to get those toxins out. So really, my advice would be to avoid red meat. If you do eat it, again, have it be, grass-fed beef, because again, you're avoiding those chemicals and antibiotics. And sweets, cancer loves sugar. And so we want to avoid sweets, again, things that are feeding that. So again, this is kind of the junk food that we were talking about before, chips and dips and all those kinds of things. I would keep alcohol to a minimum because again, high acidity, and it does metabolize into sugar. So again, just being mindful of that would be a really good idea. So the optimal diet, again, we've been talking about this. And so whole food, and I say plant-based, and the reason I say that is, again, it goes back to what I said before about your pancreas. So we want to help the body help itself. We want to get it back to that innate state of health. We want to build the immune system. We want to support the immune system. So as much as you can do that's on the plant-based side, because plants are non-acidic. They're not going to contribute to that toxic load in your body. So let me give you a little analogy. So our body, our internal body is like a bathtub. So if we keep filling the bathtub with, processed food, maybe lots of sugar, maybe lots of salt, maybe some toxic relationships, maybe we don't ever exercise, maybe we smoke, then all those things kind of fill up the bathtub, and then the bathtub starts to overflow. So what we want to do is not only drain the bathtub, but we want to get that bathtub running optimally. So if we have the drain open, that water just runs right through. So those things that will support that process are things I'm mentioning to you now. So I won't repeat some of the things we talked about in that first bullet. But again, raw, plant-based, non-dairy, soy-free, and gluten-free. So all those things inflame, and we want to take away that inflammation and make you really a healthy being. Clean filtered water, I would shoot for half your body weight in ounces every day. Most of us are dehydrated in this society, absolute. And a lot of times when we think we're hungry, it's just dehydration. So, if you can get up to a gallon a day, that's fantastic. And I know that sounds like a lot, but it's really not. And if water's not your thing, you're welcome to add something to it. Oranges, you could add lemon squeeze, lime squeeze. A lot of people do that as well to make it a little bit more palatable for them. These are some great sugar alternatives that are listed here. There's some that are great to bake with: stevia, monk fruit, xylitol. And some of that stuff sounds weird, but you will find it in natural grocers, and it's becoming a lot more mainstream, Whole Foods, places like that. And again, healthy eating, like I said before, it's easier than ever before. And that's just because there's such a demand for it. So there's a huge surge. And that works in our favor because not only can we find it, it's easier to find, but it's less expensive now. So what I do all the time is I'll just look for online clean recipes. I just look for things like no gluten, dairy, let's say some kind of dish I wanted. And it's really easy to find now. You guys will find loads of recipes that way. That's one of my tricks. I also keep healthy food on hand. And I mean, I am not perfect, trust me. I know what I don't buy because I will eat it. So that sounds like a silly tip, but like I don't buy potato chips because every time I do, it's deadly. And I could go through one bag in a nanosecond. So if we don't buy it, we're not tempted. The other thing to do that's a good idea is to kind of do a little food prep if you can on Sundays when we have a little more time. Maybe make some salads in mason jars. You can just kind of stack up what you want, put a little, the lid on it. Things in containers, because then you've got it ready to go. You don't have to think about it. Maybe your healthy snacks for work or whatever. And then we're not just, running around tempted to grab junk because we actually are prepared. And I keep stuff in my car too if I know I'm going to be driving a lot. Like I'll keep nuts in there and water, etc. There's a great app called the Healthy Cow app, and it helps you find healthy restaurants. So there's more that are participating now, so hopefully that'll help as well. But staying on track during the holidays, one thing, like I mentioned before with the water, just drink lots of water, especially, if you really think you want to eat something, sometimes that might be a good idea because a lot of times we're, not hungry, we're just dehydrated. And if you're really trying to just, have some health goals, you could always drink club soda in a cocktail glass, in a wine glass, lemon or lime squeeze, or an orange. And it's kind of fun. It fools your brain and fools you. Or, maybe you have a spritzer with the wine and not just the full wine. So there's ways to still participate and not feel deprived. And then bring healthy sides, to a party or an appetizer. People will, a lot of times they'll be fooled. I bring stuff like that all the time, and you can't even tell the difference. So, and I mentioned this last one. So Just real quick on this slide, I know we don't think about this because we don't probably know it unless we were raised in a science background, which I was not. But you know, our cells are what really makes us tick internally. And they like us, they have to eat, they have to breathe, and then they have to have optimal waste removal. So eating means things like nutrients through good, clean food and clean water. They need to breathe, they need oxygen. So we need good food that provides that oxygen, and they need to be able to remove that waste. So this is the bathtub we're going back to, right? They need to be able to, you know, drain the internal bathtub. And we do that, it's again, releasing toxins through sweat, through urine, and through your stool. So we want to help our body help itself and be able to do these things, because then we're not only not in dis-ease, but we don't go to disease. And again, so they love, what do they love? They love, what do healthy cells love? They love clean food, proper hydration, exercise, sunshine, healthy relationships, healthy environments. And cancer cells love sugar, which is their energy source. And they love toxic products and environments. They love lack of oxygen because they are anaerobic, whereas healthy cells are aerobic. So if you don't think that your environment plays into some of these things, you know, as far as your health, that's a myth, because they do. So whether it's a relationship or whether it's environmental, you know, is your environment healthy? You know, do you have mold? Has your house been checked for mold lately? Things like that. But we just want to make sure that, and also products, you know, I know people don't think about household cleaners, or maybe they don't even think about cosmetics or skin products, but all those things need to be, you know, clean if we're gonna, you know, reduce this toxicity in our environment that could impact our health. And we'll get to that. So how did we become so toxic? And you know, even if people don't have maybe specific health challenges, we all have kind of an internal, you know, non-optimal running bathtub internally, you know, for lack of a better phrase, so that people can get that picture. And it's just through our life. Our lives are really toxic. It's through that traditional standard American diet that a lot of people, you know, have. It's through lack of exercise. Now about 80 to 90% of Americans sit all day. We have high stress, and we have high toxic exposure. And maybe you don't think of cell phones and microwaves and computers as toxic, but they are. They emit toxicity. It's electromagnetic frequency. And the other things I spoke about before, household products, personal care products, maybe, you know, what's going on in your home environment or your surrounding environment. Lack of sunshine, lack of vitamin D, dehydration, smoking. Again, we mentioned some of these things already, toxic relationships, and also negative beliefs and unresolved anger and traumas. That definitely can feed ourselves in a negative way. So if we don't kind of work through those and get those out of our system, then those things might come back to haunt us in the dis-ease category, and then potentially going into, you know, further states if not addressed. So since we live in this world that really is toxic, we must advocate for our health. And we can do that by detoxifying our lives. And again, on the right is just some things. And again, these aren't all of them, but these are things that might go into a toxic load that we had talked about, and some of the issues that might manifest. It's not all inclusive, obviously. Just wanted to give you an example. So, you know, going forward, you can live great. And I want to make sure that we're imparting that. But, you know, one thing you could think about is, based on things that you've heard today, you know, what we've talked about, what's one simple lifestyle change that you could make today? Maybe you're like, all right, well, I'm not going to eat, you know, I'm not going to eat junk food this week. Or I really am going to start going on a walk. I'm going to get out of work earlier because I'm too stressed. Whatever that is. If you try one simple lifestyle change for a few days or for a week and see how it goes, and then implement another one. I also always recommend grabbing a buddy. it's always more fun with a partner, and then that way you guys can hold each other accountable, and it makes it more fun. And also, I want to again relay this, and I'm hoping this concept is getting through, but when we're proactive about our health on the front end, which is the kitchen, then we don't have to be reactive about it, in the ER or in the hospital. So you are advocating for your health every time you employ one of these healthy habits. So that's again, I want you to know how powerful you are. But so without good health, there's no wealth. And I think that, especially if you've been, you're going through cancer treatment, or you're coming out of it, or you're a caregiver, you understand that very, very clearly. So when we improve our health, and we've talked about this, we are making ourselves resistant to not only dis-ease, but disease. And when we put our health first, we can enjoy our lives, not only now, but in years to come. So I hope that through this, you're realizing that you can live vibrantly. The power is in your hands, and that's such a blessing. So I want to thank everybody, and thank you, Mike, again for having me. And to get a hold of me, this is my website. It's called myvibelife.com. And I should have added my email address, but it's easy. It's kelly@myvibelife.com. And again, this is the contact information I know everyone has for Fight Colorectal Cancer. So with that, I appreciate it again, Mike, and I know we'll go to questions now. So thank you.
Right, Kelly, thank you. Yeah, that was a really good presentation there. I learned a lot. I mean, certainly I think, about processed meats and everything along those lines, but I'm not always thinking about, processed fish, being farmed fish and everything. I mean, I'm lucky to live on the East Coast where I get access to fresh fish, but back when I used to be in Colorado, certainly, thinking about things like that is really important, and paying attention to what's at the grocery store and how to eat healthy should be something that's on everyone's mind.
Absolutely.
So in that vein, thinking about that, food packaging can be really misleading. There's a lot of marketing going on there. So we know we want to look for these more natural ingredients, these plant-based items, but with so many options and so many different messages, what are we really looking for when we look at a food package to help us understand that we're getting a wholesome product?
Yeah, that's a great question, Mike. So what I look for is the fewest ingredients possible. That's one thing. And do I know what each of them is? If there's 1,000 ingredients and you can't pronounce them, then that's probably not the optimal choice. So that's my tip. And I know you asked me about the natural label too, I think earlier, right?
Mm-hmm, right.
Yeah, so natural is just a sticker, you guys. Natural means nothing. So anyone can say it's natural. But again, that goes back to you guys being kind of super sleuths in the grocery store and actually going, wait a minute, what's on the back of this package? What's really in here? And I think you'll find it very enlightening and educational as well.
Excellent. Yeah, always got to keep your eyes open, right?
Yeah, right.
And so also, it's not lost on me, or I'm sure anyone who's listening or watching to this right now, that this is coming out in holiday season, which is probably the worst time to start thinking about eating healthy, because you have so many other options out there.
Right.
But for someone like you who does this and understands so much about it, you must have at least one recipe to share that we can be excited about, that's still indulgent and feeling good, but at the same time, following all these nutrition guidelines.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys, that's why I said the 90-10 rule, because the 10, if you live healthy the majority of the time, then in one, you're going to feel better, and you make that mind-body connection. Oh, wow, when I don't eat that, I actually feel great. So why would I go back to that? That's powerful. And then just going forward, just makes your life a lot easier. But then there's wiggle room, of course. I'm not perfect, et cetera. But as far as healthy recipes for the holidays, yes, I love the holidays. And I do encourage you to start now. Start now. You don't have to go through the holidays feeling terrible. You can start now. So I have a great healthy pumpkin pie. You will never tell the difference. There's no gluten, there's no sugar, there's no dairy, and it's the bomb. So I'm going to give it to Mike, the recipe, and you guys will make it, and I guarantee you'll love it.
Awesome. Well, we will definitely share that recipe along with this video so everyone can get a taste of that. I'm looking forward to it. Everyone's getting all geared up for the Christmas and Hanukkah holiday season, but I'm still excited for Thanksgiving. So we are good to go there. Thank you so
Yeah,
much
and
for
just like I said, bring
sharing
a
that.
healthy side, just make, healthy choices, when you can. And, yeah, you can indulge, but maybe make that not your 90%, make that your 10%.
Right, definitely. That's really sound advice there. And then also considering the holidays, I've asked this before on Wellness Wednesday, but people like me who are a little bit behind maybe getting gifts for this year, what are some really cool either kitchen gadgets or kitchen items that can help either, make this process easier on people or just make it all around more fun?
Yeah, you know what? One of my favorite items that's not expensive is the NutriBullet. So I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but you can find it in Target. It's come down significantly in price, but it's super because you can make juices in it, you can make smoothies in it, you can make nut butter in it, you can make hummus in it, and also what I love is all you have to do is rinse it out. You don't have to like discombobulate it and put all the stuff in the dishwasher. Just rinse it out, put it in the strainer, and you're done. So that's like my number one favorite gadget is the NutriBullet. I don't even know how many I've had over the last 10 years, quite a few. And again, they're simple to deluxe model, but you just need the simple one. So much more powerful than a blender. That's why I love it too. You could make drinks in it. You could do all kinds of stuff in it. So it's great.
Awesome. Yeah, I can attest to that. I have one and I make all sorts of stuff with it. So that is really great. Well, that's definitely a good option to add to all the other ones we've shared. So if you haven't gone out and got those gifts yet, it's a really good option for you, I'm sure.
And a spiralizer. If you guys
Ooh,
want to
yeah.
make zucchini noodles, a little pan spiralizer or a mandolin, great gift. You'll use it all the time. You can make veggie lasagna. You can make all kinds of stuff with that. In meats or marinara sauce in place of pasta. Zoodles are super. So that's another great kitchen gadget.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. So you got a couple bonus options there for everyone as well. So that's really, really great. Well, Kelly, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing everything that you have to offer here. Check out Kelly at myvibelife.com and join us again for another Wellness Wednesday. Make sure before you go, you remember to like, comment, and subscribe on here so you can get easy access to all the rest of our content and stay involved with our community. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next time.